Hi guys, and welcome to another kit review. Okay, so today we're going to be having a look at a kit from Miniart, and kit number is 38008, and it is their German passenger car type 170V Saloon, 4 doors. Okay, so it is basically you can see the badge on the front. It's a Mercedes-Benz 170. Alright, so this is a civilian version. Comes with one female figure, some suitcases I believe, and that box art is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so as you can tell, that is actually a real aircraft that has been used as a backdrop. That's Decals. Okay, it's a Lufthansa Ju-52. This aircraft is still flying under the Lufthansa badge. Alright, so, but of course this car is from the late 1930s when Ju-52s were still flying commercially with Lufthansa. Okay, so that's the box art. It is gorgeous. As it says here, the kit contains 265 parts, models for a car, one figure, photo etch, and decals are included. Alright, so that's the box. Let's have a look at the sides. So, this side, usual warnings, 3 languages, not for people under 3 years old, copyright 2017, and Miniart's address in the Ukraine. So this is actually a rebox of an earlier type 170 from 2012. I believe it was a black 4-door sedan. So, but this one, that's gorgeous paintwork. Alright, so let's have a look at the other side. And there you have it. So, this particular car, or kit I should say, has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 different paint schemes, suggested paint schemes. Okay, so these, in other words, give you a wide scope for how you want to paint this car as a civilian vehicle. Alright, so they're gorgeous. That's beautiful artwork. So let's have a look and see what we actually got in the box. Put that aside. As usual, Miniart's glossy full color instructions. Look at that. That's presentation for you. So that shows you exactly what you get in the kit. Highly detailed. Total parts 265. 212 plastic parts. 40 photo etch. 13 clear. All doors can be posed, open or closed. Decal sheet for 11 variants. Alright, and this is continued on the back. So, we'll put that aside and we'll see what's in the box. So, what we have is one bag of screws and foam packing, which would probably be the photo etch, and the decals. No, that's the photo etch there, so that must be some extremely delicate parts. Alright, so let's put that aside. And magic box. So in here, yes indeed, in the box is the actual body of the vehicle. Alright, so we'll put those aside, put the box aside, and in a second we'll have a look at the instructions. Okay, so here we are back again. So, as we've seen on the front, gives you a description of exactly what you're going to get in this kit. This is beautiful glossy paper, so that's quality for a start. So, can't fault Miniart on that. Alright, so, turning it over, you already have 4 color schemes. Plain black, teal and cream, red, which is Deutsche Reich Post, so German post office before the war. That's that one there. The one shown on the cover, which is, that's scarlet and cream. And then we carry on to the sprue layout. So at the back of the instructions, you have got another two, and this is a taxi from Berlin in the 50s. This is from Austria, 39 to 45, plain brown. Okay. Munich, 38 to 45. Deutsche Reichsbahn. Okay, so if you have a any railroad stock, as in wagons, etc., even Miniarts, or yeah, even Miniarts railway staff, this could go with those. All right, 38 to 45. Brandenburg, all over green with black mudguards, 38 to 45. And Thuringia, 38 to 45. So that's an interesting half tone, white and blue. Okay, and last but not least, so this is Germany 1950s, Deutsche Post, so German post office. Okay, so and yellow, black mudguards, and the colour callouts for the female figure. So also on here, and I might give you a still shot of that anyway. So these are your colour callouts for the vehicle: Ammo, Humbrol, Mr. Colour, Testers, Vallejo. That's the Ukrainian name. That's the English name for the colour. So you wouldn't use all of these colours. These are just suggested colours for the actual bodywork of the vehicle. So I will give you a still shot of that, so you can have a good look at that. Okay, so sorry. Let's have a look. I do love their artwork. So first page, as usual, sprue layout for the vehicle. There are, from what I can see, only a few parts which are not used in this particular model. Decals, clear parts, photo etch. Usual warnings about what to cut, where to put holes, that kind of thing. Alright, so let's start. Start off with the engine. As you can see, this has a very detailed engine. Very detailed. Okay, so depending on how you want to display the model, you might be tempted to leave at least one of the bonnet halves up so you can see this engine. All it would need is a bit of wiring for the spark plugs and distributor, and it would look pretty awesome. As usual, there are colour callouts throughout, tell you how to do it. Then we move on to the chassis, has some PE parts on it already. Okay, just little frame brackets and things. That looks like an interesting, these are brake hoses for the wheels. Okay, so that in itself is interesting because you hardly ever see brake hoses and things like this on model vehicles. Alright, so like I said, this is a very complex. So come on with the chassis, springs are going on, gearbox, etc., differential, brakes, etc., engine, and this is a lot of parts. A lot of fine delicate parts, some PE involved in here, mainly for brackets and things, exhaust pipe. Right, so, but the drawings of where everything goes are quite comprehensive. So if you take your time and study the drawings, test fit first, shouldn't have a problem. So chassis, exhaust pipe goes on, bumper, then the bottom of the car. Okay, so at that stage there, that's where you can line up your brackets and things to the bottom of the car. Then we carry on. So this is the front of the engine bay, or front of the cabin, I should say. That's your fuel tank. Goes on the front. Interesting place to put a fuel tank, but that's what they designed, and that's where you do it. I believe there are plenty of photos on the internet which will show you all the details you need to know about where this goes, what color it was, etc. These cars are still in existence and they're still being driven by enthusiasts. Okay, so front of the cabin goes in, seats, and again you've got parts, small parts, PE, which go on the side of the seats. So that's more detail which will get covered up if you don't have a door open, but that's a personal choice. Seats go into the bottom, then you've got the actual body, and clear parts go in, more PE parts which are hinges, etc. going on, indicators. That looks like, yes indeed, that's your rear vision mirror, which is also a PE part. So as I said, this is quite a, it would be a complex, so I wouldn't say this is a beginner's car. It's definitely a moderate to experienced builder for this one. Worth the challenge though. Okay, so finishing off the body, interior, some exterior details, instrument panel. As you can see by the tyres, they are 4-part tyres, so that will give you a really nice tread pattern. Wheels go on. Again, radiator. So radiator, and this is your radiator grille, which is a PE part, which will need to be folded to be able to fit into the shroud. And yes, the Mercedes-Benz symbol is a PE part as well. Okay, naturally enough you do get a spare tyre that goes on this vehicle. And then steering wheel. Okay, another PE part, which is the horn ring for the steering wheel. So yes, there's a lot. You would want to paint this interior before you put that on. Windscreen wipers are also PE. So as I said, this is the kind of car that moderate to experienced builder will have a go at. Definitely not for beginners. There's a lot of PE parts and some of them are quite fine. Alright, so as you can tell, Miniart have included the cross brace which goes in the engine bay. Okay, so that's an extra detail. A lot of kit manufacturers, when they do include an engine, don't show you or include those cross braces, and they did exist on most pre-war cars. Okay, so a bit more PE, side grills on the bonnet, and then we get to actually working out. So this is where you would work out. This here is the variant with the open cover or the closed cover. But if you're going to have a full engine with PE parts, then I would suggest, just for display purposes, just so you don't miss that engine, leaving open. I know I probably will when I get to building this. So then we get to the doors. So it does have separate doors, which means you can have all the doors open, none of the doors open, personal choice. Rear rack for the suitcases, etc. Spare wheel goes on. And the suitcases, by the way, are 3 parts. They're not solid parts. They have a bottom, a top, and a front. And then it's just a matter of putting the doors on. So fairly simple, straightforward. It's a choice how you want these doors. So these are suicide doors. So basically they open that way, that way. Alright, so completely your choice as to how you want to display this vehicle, but it has a really nice detailed interior, really nice detailed engine and chassis. So if you choose to cover all that up, you might as well just leave a lot of the details out. Okay, anyway, that's me waffling. Apologies for that. Anyway, like I said, and I say anyway too many times, and I say basic, so apologies for that too. That brings us to that. Alright, so luggage rack goes on. You wouldn't have to fit the luggage rack if you didn't want to. I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot of these cars around that didn't have a luggage rack. Doors are on and the kit's complete. Okay, so that is the instructions. And now, give me a second and I'll get the sprues out and we'll have a look at those. Okay, so welcome back, and let's have a look at the sprues, but first we'll start off with the decals. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of number plates. So individual number plates for every color variant shown in this kit. The stripes here are for the taxi. You have a Deutsche Post symbols for the 1950s German post office, and also, okay, these ones are for your Deutsche Reich Post. I hope I got that right. Okay, minus the swastikas, because this kit gets sold all over the world for the pre-war German post office. So as you can see, 1A I know for a fact is registered in Berlin, so the other ones will have individual registration for their particular area in Germany. So the decals are quite comprehensive, really nice, and you do have a lot of choice, which is something I think is pretty awesome actually. Right, so next we will have a look at the Photo Etch. I hope that's not too shiny for you guys. There you have it. Okay, so naturally enough, you've got your radiator grille, and you do have your clamps, etc., your horn ring, your Mercedes-Benz symbol for the top of the radiator, and these are other brackets, etc., that go on the chassis. So there's some very tiny parts here, extremely fine, as you can tell. So yeah, experience in dealing with Photo Etch is a must, I think. But the detail and how fine these are, it's beautiful, and they should come out really well on this vehicle. Okay, so first up, let's have a look at what was in the box. And what was in the box was the cabin of the vehicle. So the reason why it's in the box is to protect it against marks, and also to stop it from being crushed and bent out of shape, which is a really good thing to do. So the last thing you want is something like this to be damaged or bent out of shape. That will just ruin the entire model. So pretty good. The only thing you'd have to clean up is basically where it came off the sprue from the factory. Okay, so that's really nice. Next up, I think we'll have a look at the important things. The clears. So the clears, well, they look fairly clear. There does appear to be a bit of hazing possibly on this window, but then again, that comes down to how you want to present this vehicle. Internet references to see if any of the glass stood above the door sill when the window is down. You could possibly even leave the windows down on a couple of doors, but clear, most definitely. Alright, yes, there are molding pips. Yes, it's clear plastic, so it will be brittle, but yeah, as usual with clears, you always have to be careful when you put them in, otherwise you'll end up with glue smears, fingerprints, and trust me, I have done that. Fingerprints, not good. Okay, so next sprue is this one. So body, seats, bonnet, front of the vehicle, instrument panel, alright, bonnet sides, chassis, and steering wheel, radiator, bumpers, etc. So let's have a look at the detail. Okay, so pretty good. Some really nice catch detail there, you can see. Alright, so that's the attachment points for your bonnet catches. So they were literally just secured down with a catch, click, and it's done. Separate bonnet halves, making it easier for you to display the engine from one side or both. Okay, so what you've got here is your axles, steering wheel. Okay, these are your brake handle gears, front of the vehicle, instrument panel, body, seats, bumpers. Okay, so not much flash, fairly sharp. Some of the attachments are a bit heavy in places for the smaller stuff, especially for something like that. But as usual, you know, bit of care shouldn't have a problem. Okay, so that is the body. Now, this bit here. So you might remember it did have a protective foam. So the protective foam was here to protect some very, very delicate parts. Right, so what you got here is the doors. This is the most delicate part. That's your luggage rack, plus accessories for the engine, etc. So let's have a look up close. Fuel tank, doors, interior with door pockets, good detail. very sharp engine, and the engine does have some nice detail, especially the fins, okay, on the sump, the bolts on the gearbox, fan belt. Okay, so most of what you see are just the parts for the engine, distributor, etc. And as I said, the foam protective part was covering the springs for the back, for the suspension I should say, and these parts here, which are for the luggage rack. So as you can tell, some of the attachment to the sprue is a little bit heavy, and there's a lot of small parts, a lot of small parts right there, which yeah, I think the carpet monster would love to get her hands on. Okay, so that's pretty good. I especially love the detail on the engine, the fins and the bolt detail on the head. So yeah, all that engine would need would be some spark plug leads, and it would look pretty awesome. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's that. What have we got? Okay, so what we have here is 1, 2, 3. So as you can tell, there's your tyres, 4 pieces each, plus the hubs and your seats. Okay, seats, etc. So we'll put those two aside, and we will have a look at the tyres. Okay, so tyres. Okay, so there isn't any maker's brand on the tyres, which is not a biggie anyway. The fact that they are actually 4 separate pieces means you'll have a really nice tread pattern. The seats have a really nice deep pattern to them, so with a bit of wash on that, they should come out really well. There are some very fine handles, door handles here, so again, care taking those off. But apart from that, the detail right here, these are your brake hubs. Right, the detail on the brake hubs is quite amazing, considering that you probably won't see them, not unless you turn the car over or leave the tire off, which I guess is a possibility. Okay, so that's your tyres. That's almost the whole kit, apart from the figure, which is this one. So, one female figure, detail is quite sharp, even to the tie. The face is, sorry, that went blurry. So the face is not too bad. I think I've said this previously, but the one thing I notice about female figure kits is that they tend to be, the faces tend to be masculine. So maybe that's just my perception, but yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, so, and of course, female figures, especially a civilian like this, would be painted up completely differently to your average soldier in the field. Okay, so that is the figure. That's the last sprue in this kit. Pretty sure it is. Yep, that's it. So there you have it. Miniart's German passenger car Type 170. So basically Mercedes-Benz Type 170, 4-door saloon. Nice little car. Okay, it is a little car, quite small, but then pre-war cars, the majority of them, no matter what country they were made in, apart from maybe the USA, were quite small for European streets, European cities. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you got something from it, and let me know. Okay, brings us to the end. Until next time, guys, take it easy.